Hello, I'm AbYX and welcome back to a video. Today we're going through 5 of the most realistic blocks in Minecraft. The reason I'm doing this is because I recently went through 5 of the least realistic blocks in the game, and a lot of people really liked that video, but then had certain inputs about blocks they thought were really realistic, or blocks they thought really weren't realistic, and I think because of that I just had to go through and make this kind of success as that video, and I think it'd be a fun thing, and hopefully you'll do too. If you do, please do like the video and let me know, because it helps out the channel a lot, and lets me know you do like these just fun one-off videos where we talk about something as ridiculous as realism in Minecraft. Because obviously if you look around Minecraft, you can see it's got the slightest base in the real world, but there's a lot of things that aren't entirely true here. As we've covered before in like the whole Minecraft could be a post-apocalyptic real world, but there's a few things that actually do have a lot of similarities between Minecraft and real life, such as our first one here, for instance, which is one that has to be an honourable mention, because there's a lot of blocks that fall into the same category where they kind of look like their real life counterpart, but their functionality is where they kind of vary. So the big example would be wood, for instance. If you look at wood, it looks a lot like real life wood. I mean, you could have a tree that looks almost exactly like this. I mean, maybe not square, but you get the basic point. You could have an oak tree and it'd look quite a lot like this. You have a spruce tree, it can look quite a bit like this. The same goes for an acacia tree. Basically, trees have a decent amount of bases in reality. If you're trying to turn them into a cubic block, the Minecraft developers did a pretty good job, but they're only number 5 here because of the fact that when you convert them into planks, you get 4 times as many, and then you convert them into other stuff, and you lose it, and it gets really weird. The actual woodworking to do with, wood in Minecraft is weird, but there's a lot of blocks like wood that fall into the same category where they do actually look kind of like their real life structure, and I guess that's something that has to be mentioned, and that's why they all get number 5 here collectively. However, number 4, we're going to move on to something a bit more serious because it is an actual block that is based on something in real life. That is TNT. So TNT, or trinitrotryslin, or it's a chemical name short for something. That's where TNT comes from. Is actually reasonably realistic. Again, given the bounds of Minecraft, where there's only a certain number of blocks you can actually craft stuff from, and then given the bounds of Minecraft, where everything has to be square and an explosion cannot be square, you've got to admit TNT actually does a pretty good job at mimicking what a real explosion would be like. So here you can see, I'm going to put it in the ground right there. It hopped out of the ground for some reason because weird console bug, but still. And then you see it explodes, and it does a really good job at being random looking. So it's not just a perfect kind of circle, because that would be kind of weird and strange looking, but it does the same kind of thing where it looks like it's a natural explosion, and that's something I really have to say it does a pretty good job for. If you ever tried to make a natural explosion hole without using TNT, it always looks really weird, and the fact that the game can do it so well using like semi-randomness combined with that is pretty good. Now, the realism part of this is not only the fact that it makes realistic looking holes, and it actually reacts to different stuff differently, which is a really cool little thing, but also it's the fact that, it's made from gunpowder, which is sulfur-based, which is one of the ingredients of TNT in real life, and the fact that they managed to do that in a game where there's really limited stuff, using sand and gunpowder, doesn't seem like it's too realistic, but it's pretty close, given that, again, gunpowder is sulfur to some extent, and all these other things. I think TNT is a realistic block in quite a few ways, and again, the fact that you detonate it like this, one of the big strengths of TNT in real life is the fact that it's not too easy to detonate. It does require a little bit of work. It never accidentally detonates, and that's true for TNT in Minecraft too, which is why it's the 4th most realistic block in the game. So let's drop some down there just for fun, and move on to number 3 here. So number 3 is one where there's really no complaints, but there's really only one complaint, because it's the ladder block. So the ladder block is actually technically a block. It does make the kind of block list here. You might think, no, ladder's not a block. It goes on to other blocks. But the thing about ladder is it actually does count as its whole own block. We now can't place blocks here if we want to. They go onto the block over here instead. So anyway, just key point there. Ladders are actually kind of realistic because, again, besides the fact that they stick to walls rather than being placed off it, although they actually, as you can see right here, they do place off the wall a little bit, ladders are kind of realistic. You climb up and down them. You climb up and down them at a reasonable pace too. I mean, you do it a little bit too smoothly. In real life, it'd be perfect, but still, the fact that there's next to no complaints besides maybe the crafting recipe, which still, again, given the constraints of Minecraft, is incredibly close to what it would be in the real world, where you could see it'd be like 3 sticks across and then 2 sticks up. It's really, really close to what it could be, and because of that, I think ladders are a pretty darn realistic item. However, there are things that get more realistic than just being close enough, and one example has to be sponge. So sponge is the 2nd most realistic block. Again, I will quickly clarify that unlike a lot of videos where I like to make everything subjective, this is kind of like a fun little subjective video where, again, you can kind of have your own opinion, but I think sponges are one of the most realistic blocks in the game because of the fact that they mirror their real life behavior very, very well. That is to say that if you put a 1 meter cube sponge inside like a 3 meter cube piece of water, it probably could absorb all of the water, and it's really, really cool the way it does it. But it's not just cool. The fact that you find it underground, that is mirroring what a natural type of sponge is, but also the fact that if you if you heat up sponge rapidly, you might think, no, that doesn't get rid of the water, but in real life, apparently, I read this on the Wikipedia page, if you heat up a sponge using a microwave and it's actually filled with water, it's actually one of the best ways to clean it. So not only is heating up a sponge accurate and a way to actually get rid of the stuff, but you can actually use it to clean the sponge too, which means every time you actually reheat the sponge and re-get it ready to use, then you're actually getting it, you're actually in some way cleaning it, and I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, the sponge and the wet sponge are 2 blocks blocks, which I think are pretty cool. I think there's maybe the tiniest bit of unrealism in the fact that they always get the same amount of wet, regardless of how much water they absorb, but still, I think the sponge is one of the cooler blocks, and it's pretty lifelike, which I think is awesome. So, with that said, let's move on to the final block here, the one I think is the most realistic in the game, and that has to be diamonds. So this is a block so many people said was one of the least realistic, but I actually saw an infographic a long time ago that actually proves that diamonds in real life are incredibly similar to diamonds in the game, or at least, again, within the constraints of Minecraft. So, first of all, let's talk about the height you find them at. Diamonds are found very, very close to bedrock, which is roughly a simulation of the lowest you can dig in real life, which is roughly where you find them in real life too. You find them very, very low down, the average, there's something like 2,000, 3,000 meters, and the fact that you can find diamonds in the rough Minecraft equivalent, again, the whole world only goes up to 256 meters, and therefore going down 64 meters is actually a pretty significant thing. Again, I think the real world atmosphere goes up to something like 10,000, 15,000 meters. The fact that going down is roughly 2,000, 3,000, it's incredibly accurate, again, given the constraints, which I think is cool. Second of all, is the fact that the rarity of diamonds roughly mirrors the rarity of carbon, which is what diamonds are made from in real life, because in Minecraft, about 0.016% of all blocks are made of diamond, whereas in real life, 0.018% of blocks are made of, actual carbon, which I think is really, really cool, the fact that there's kind of similarity. Then bear in mind the fact that although diamonds are blue in Minecraft, unlike real life, it actually is possible to get blue diamonds in real life, which is something to do with a boron deficiency, which is what you could say the entire Minecraft world is made up of, and every single, factor of the diamond's existence, it might seem kind of unrealistic, but it's actually just boron, found diamonds at the rough equivalent layer of where you'd find them in real life, and they're found at roughly the same amount of rarity. Again, assuming there's some other carbon doing other stuff down there, then you can assume that diamonds are actually one of the most lifelike things in Minecraft, surprisingly so. They seem so unrealistic, but there's actually a lot of truth to the way they work, and I think that's a cool little fact. So hopefully you all do too. If you did all like the video, like it and let me know. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. Let me know what you think of this type of video. Again, it's just a fun little one that I figured I'd make, because I was just thinking, like, what would the most realistic Minecraft blocks be? And I'd love to hear what your suggestions are in the comments down below too, because that's always a cool thing. And if you like me sticking to stuff like, just ways to kill wither and stuff, let me know about that too, because I've been having a lot of fun just playing around different Minecraft content recently, and if there's any particular one that you really like or dislike, then I guess it's probably useful that I know that, isn't it? So with that said, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!